I'm always amazed by how many people I talk to who have smart home devices like lights and locks and speakers, but aren't using them to their full potential. And they're not doing the things I'm going to show you in this video, which in my opinion, this tech should make your life easier by automating chores and tasks while essentially remaining invisible. And that's a really key aspect. I don't want to have to open a bunch of apps or say a million commands just to do these different things that, like, let's face it, a light switch works just fine. I don't want to have to open an app to turn my lights on. So in this video, I want to show you 8 of my favorite Amazon routines that you can set up in a matter of minutes that can automate major things. Like I'm talking your entire go to bed thing, like when you lock all the doors and turn the lights off and turn on do not disturb and all these different things, you can just say goodnight and it does all of that for you. So there's a lot of things like that. And also throughout this video, I'm going to call her Alex. I think I'm going to call her Amazon Alex so I don't trigger your ears at home, but you know exactly who I'm talking about. So Amazon routines, a lot of people think of as something that you have to say in order for it to happen, but the first one is actually triggered by the sunrise. Like my device knows when the sun comes up and I can tell it 15 minutes before sunrise, I want it to open my roller shade, I want it to turn on the lights in my bedroom, I want it to warm up my thermostat so I'm not stuck in my blankets and the rest of the house is really cold. And of course, I wanted to maybe start the coffee maker downstairs. So that is really a simple one to do. And the way you would actually go about doing this is within the Amazon Alex app. If you go over to routines that you can see right here, we can create a new one. And I'll just call this one Good Morning. And you can have it triggered. So the trigger, like I said, is based on the sunrise. So if you go to triggers and you go to time, you'd actually choose sunrise. I really like it to be dark when I sleep. I like to be cold when I sleep. And there's a lot of things that I want when I sleep, but not when I wake up. So it kind of matches like a natural circadian rhythm. So I have my thermostat warming up in the morning. I have the lights turn on. They actually fade on for about 15 minutes. They also change in color. So I start them off kind of warm and then they fade to a cooler kind of whitish, like a bluer white. The shades open because they are automatic roller shades. And I have a little smart outlet that turns on a coffee maker downstairs. It's actually a water pot. I just use it for tea. I don't really drink coffee, but it's something that happens in the morning. Moving on to the second one, this one is, again, not related to a specific command that I would say to Amazon Alex. Instead, I call this one housekeeping, which essentially turns on my Roombas when I leave in the morning. So I can have this essentially based on location. So whenever my phone leaves my house, if it's within a certain time period, it'll turn on the Roombas so they're cleaning while I'm gone, so it's not annoying, I'm not tripping over them, and they're not running while I'm asleep or something. This one is actually easier to set up because you only have one thing you have to do, and this is actually connect a Roomba. And in order to connect your Roomba, if you go over to the Amazon app, you can go to the bottom right, the little 3 bars, and you can go to skills and just look up iRobot and you can add your Roomba just like that. And it's really easy then. If you go and create a routine based on location, you can say when I leave, I want it to trigger the Roomba to actually start going. And that's, within a certain time of the day. If you go to work every morning, it's a great way to have it clean up the kitchen while you're gone. And then number 3, I'm sorry, I couldn't help it. Intruder alert. You might have seen other people do this on TikTok. Intruder alert.
Unauthorized entrance detected. You have 3 seconds to leave before lockdown. 3, 2, 1. That was a bad move, buddy. Initiating home defense sequence. Locking doors.
It's kind of fun to play around with this, and this is one that I definitely will never use, but it's just funny to have. But on a more real note, kind of tying into this one of home intrusions, there are actually some great routines that you can use in a legitimate way for this. So one of them is sound-based routines. So you can set up sound alerts so that if your device, it's always listening, if it detects a window smash or something like that, it can notify you on your phone, and it can do other things as well. For example, turn on cameras or whatever you need it to do. And that's a good peace of mind to have when you're away from home, that your device would let you know if it heard a loud sound or otherwise somebody broke a window or anything like that happened. And now there are a lot of options for speakers out there, but this right here is the Sonos Era 100, which is a sponsor of today's video. It just came out, and this is a replacement to the Sonos One, which is a very popular speaker for a while. This right here, the Sonos 100, has some substantial improvements. It works for music, it works for surround sound, it has dual firing tweeters on there, so you do have a really surprising stereo separation from that as well. They definitely improved the bass big time. It already was pretty substantial on the Sonos One, but now we have an even larger woofer on here. And with that, you're getting a more powerful mid-range, partially due to the larger bass drivers, like I mentioned. Considering the size of this is like the size of most smart home speakers. This gets surprisingly loud. It gets really, really loud. The aesthetic, I mean, it blends in really well with pretty much anything in the room. I found that you can set it on a shelf, you can set it on like a bookshelf or any smaller space, and it really fits in pretty well. There are also two different colors. There's a black one and a white one, and it's generally a kind of minimalist design. And looking at the device itself, on the back we have a switch to toggle the microphone on or off, and that is obviously for the voice assistant. Below that we have our line in, which is USB Type-C if you want to have a wired connection, or on the top is a third way to play back on here, which is by Bluetooth. On the top, we have quite an array of different controls. So of course the typical capacitive touch, play, pause, forward, back, but also the volume controls are actually a slider on here. You can see we have microphones all over the top, and that little bubble, the little text bubble right there, as you might expect. You can tap and hold and talk to the voice assistant. Now, the reason I chose the Sonos Era 100 for this video is because you actually have two different voice assistants on it. You have, of course, Sonos Voice Control, which you can use to control the song and a lot of things with a speaker, or of course you have Amazon Alex, which means you are able to use this for the routines I'm talking about in this video. Now, this also pairs with other Sonos devices, so you can have multiple Sonos Era 100s connected to a TV, for example, to have more of a surround sound in your room. And this is selling for $249. So check it out if you guys are interested. I'll have a link in the description. Thanks to Sonos for sponsoring this portion of the video. Now let's get back to number 4. Now this one, again, is a little bit more of a playful one that I think is kind of just a great prank to pull on people, your wife, your spouse, whoever. This is actually hijacking commands. So for example, if somebody always requests a specific song or podcast or something that just really bothers you, you can do the opposite. Or like maybe a funny one is if they always listen to like a news podcast, like Fox or CNN, you could just do the opposite, and like it would just really trigger people kind of. And I don't know, I think it could be kind of a funny prank. So really all you'd want to do here, super simple, you just make a really simple routine where the trigger would be whatever the normal command is. So it could be play Taylor Swift, and then the action you tell it to do might be play Rage Against the Machine on Spotify. And it would just, I mean, you can see exactly where this is gonna go. Moving on to a more practical one, the next one on this list is an evening welcome home routine. This is one that I really like to have. It's great, obviously, for having a more welcoming home, and you could do this either really in a bunch of different ways. Motion sensors are a great way to do it. You can have like a door detection when you open your door in the evening. It could be based on time. It could be based on geolocation again, so whenever you come in, like in the premise near your house. Really for me, I just go based on timing. So once again, based on sunset here. And so what I like to do is I have the lights come on, I have them change to a warmer hue because your circadian rhythm, of course, in the morning and throughout the day, you want more of a daylight, kind of a whiter, bluer light. And then in the evening, as you wind down for the best sleep, you do want a warmer tone, a warmer hue on your light. So you kind of want dimmer and warmer. So I have that set up as well. I have the thermostat warm up as well, so I'm not wasting energy all day while I'm away at work. It can cool down the house, and then when I get home, you can dial it back up right around sunset. And then the next one, I just call good night, and this is one that I say specifically to the speaker. So this is a voice-triggered command. If I just say, Alex, good night, I can have it lock the door. So if you have a smart lock, a lot of different smart locks out there can connect with this, and most of them allow you to lock doors. Many of them don't allow you to unlock doors for security reasons, obviously, but it depends on the lock that you actually have. I also have it turn off the lights. I have it turn the temperature down to maybe like 55 degrees at night, at least in the winter. And then of course I have it pause music, and I have it turn on do not disturb so I don't have any distractions while I'm sleeping. And then last but not least, we have mood scenes, for example, like dinner. So if you just say, Alex, it's dinner time, the actions would be turn on do not disturb mode so you don't get distractions while you're eating dinner. You can change the lights, so you can change them to a dimmer setting, either for a specific room or for your whole house. And you can also change the color of the lights, make them a little bit warmer or whatever a good dinner color would be. You can have it turn on music. I don't know, that's what I like to do. It's like having some kind of like background music around dinner. But those are my 8 favorite automations to set up. And if you have any of your own, because there are a ton out there, please let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing. I'm Mike O'Brien. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.